before.
Welcome, everyone. I'd like to call the regular meeting of the board for February 17th to order. I'd like to acknowledge that we're meeting on the traditional land of Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, which is represented by the communities of Saugeen First Nation and the Chippewas of Nawash Unceded First Nation. We also think of the Métis Nation of Ontario, whose history and people are well represented in Bruce and Grey County. As we return from the Family Day weekend, we think of the families directly impacted by last week's tragedy in Tumbler Ridge, BC. On behalf of Blue Water District School Board, we extend our deepest heartfelt condolences to the Tumbler Ridge Secondary School and broader community. We honor the victims and share our thoughts with those in recovery, as well as the families, students, staff, and community members whose lives are changed forever. Our board is similar to School District 59 in that we both serve small, close-knit communities. We can relate to the profound and lasting heartbreak and sense of loss that resonates throughout an entire district when tragedy strikes in one of our schools. For this evening's reflection, please join me as we unite in solidarity with the Tumbler Ridge community and share in their grief and sadness during this incredibly difficult time. Tonight we have Trustee Butts, Trustee Morgan, Trustee McComb, and Trustee Ritchie joining us online. And we have regrets from Trustee Long. We're to the approval of our agenda. But I have a mover and seconder that the agenda for the regular meeting of the board of February 17th, 2026 be approved as printed. Trustee Morgan, Trustee Peters. All in favor? Thank you, that's carried. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest on any of our agenda items this evening? I see none. We have two sets of minutes to approve. First is the minutes of the regular board meeting of December the 16th. Could I have a mover and seconder that the minutes of the regular meeting of the board of December 16th, 2025 be approved as printed? Trustee Craig, Trustee McComb. Were there any errors or omissions that anyone saw from those minutes? See none? All in favor? Next is the minutes from the Governance Standing Committee from February the 3rd. Could I have a mover and seconder that the minutes of the Governance Standing Committee of February 3rd, 2026 be approved as printed? Trustee Johnstone and Trustee Atkinson. Again, is there any errors or omissions? I see none. All in favor? Thank you. That is carried. For those online that I can't see your faces, if you are objecting to something, please make sure I know that, but I'll assume otherwise that you're approving. Is there any business arising from the minutes? See any? We have no delegations this evening. We do have recommendations coming from the Governance Standing Committee from February 2023. I will be the mover for each of these motions, and I'll be looking for a second. First, that Blue Water District School Board approved the Georgian Bay Community School students participate in the Liberation of Italy anniversary of the Battle of Monte Cassino, May 14th to May 23rd, 2027, contingent that it aligns with all travel advisories at the time of the trip. Can I have a seconder? Trustee Peters. Is there any commentary on this trip? We have discussed it previously. See none, all in favor? That is carried. Secondly, that the Blue Water District School Board approved that Owen Sound District Secondary School students participate in the Liberation of Italy anniversary of the Battle of Monte Cassino, May 14th to 23rd, 2027, contingent that it aligns with all travel advisories at the time of the trip. Can I have a seconder, please? Trustee Atkinson. All in favor? That's carried. Next, the Blue Water District School Board approved that Owen Sound District Secondary School students participate in the France and Italy 2027, March 18th to March 28th, 2027, contingent that it aligns with all travel advisories at the time of the trip. Can I have a seconder, please? Trustee Peters. Any commentary on this trip? All in favor? Thank you, that's carried. Next, the Blue Water District School Board approved the Grey Island Secondary School students participate in the Environmental Studies Program field trips. Blusherton Pond Basic Canoe Instruction Day 1, April 28th, 2026. Blusherton Pond Basic Canoe Instruction Day 2, April 29th, 2026. Cypress Lake Camping Trip, May 6th to 8th, 2026. Bells Lake Canoe Trip, May 12th, 2026. Massasauga Provincial Park Canoe Trip, May 27th to 30th, 2026. And Killarney Provincial Park, June 6th to 13th. Could I have a seconder, please? Trustee McComb. Any commentary or questions? I see none. All in favor? Thank you, that's carried. And move that Blue Water District School Board approve that Georgian Bay Community School students participate in the Pursuits Program Bruce Trail Cypress, April 28th to May 1st, 2026. Massasauga, May 26th to 29th, 2026, and Temagami, June 11th to June 21st. Could I have a seconder? Trustee Morgan? Any questions or comments? All in favor? And next, that Blue Water District School Board approved the modified 2026-2027 draft elementary and secondary school year calendars for submission to the Ministry of Education. That I have a seconder. Trustee Lutz. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Thank you, that is carried. Next is our Business and Facilities Standing Committee from February the 3rd, and I'd like to invite Vice Chair Johnstone to speak to this report.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you very much. So you received a report and just items for information. There were 4. One had to do with the interim report to do with revenues and expenditures of our approved budget. The 26-27 budget timeline, the budget pre-consultation and budget consultation. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to and happy to answer them.
Any questions or comments? I see none. Thank you so much. And next is our report from in camera from earlier this evening, and I then would like to invite Vice Chair Johnstone to speak to the report.
Thank you very much. So we had a special committee of the whole in camera meeting that was held earlier this evening. The agenda was deemed to meet the legislative requirements to be held in camera, and minutes from the previous meeting were approved, and there are no recommendations being brought out of camera into the open.
Thank you. Moving along. Next is our notice of motion. And I know that we have two notices of motion that are coming forward this evening from trustee Johnstone. Due to the time sensitivity, trustee Johnstone would like us to consider these motions without notice, which would require 2/3 vote by trustees present and voting to consider them. They refer to letters that you received forwarded from another school board looking to make a recommendation to the ministry about some consultation with respect to the role of trustees. So do I put a motion?
Yeah, so it'd be the first one is the ombudsman.
The ombudsman.
Yeah. And the other one has to do with supporting Waterloo's letter to the ombudsman, and we would write a similar letter.
So would I say this part and put it in?
No, you don't, that's your job. Yeah, that's my job. Yours is just for consideration.
Okay, so the first, I'll just,
Yeah.
okay, so I'll be looking for a seconder. That Blue Water District School Board write the Ontario Ombudsman in support of the Waterloo Region District School Board letter to ask the office to review the potential impacts of removing English public school trustees with respect to fairness, openness, transparency, and accountability. And that this letter be sent to all Grey Bruce MPs, MPPs, MPs, OPSPA member boards, Minister Calandra, and the Minister Ontario Premier. So it's moved by trustee Johnstone, seconded by trustee Peters.
We have to, whether you'll consider it, so.
So we are voting whether you'll consider this, and it needs to be a 2/3 majority. Okay, so are people open to considering this without motion or without notice tonight? So we're good, and you can speak to that.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah, so you did great, Jane. Okay, so I think that Crystal, you're gonna put the motion up. I just know it makes it easier, so, and so that was exactly it, at the Blue Water District School Board, right to the Ontario Ombudsman, exactly what Jane said, the motion and the whereases are going up on the screen. Okay, so the background. It has to do with, whereas the role of the Ontario Ombudsman is to examine the transparency, fairness, and accountability of policies in government. Whereas the Minister of Education has stated the intention to remove the role of democratically elected English public school trustees and has stated that French and Catholic trustees will not be removed. Whereas the removal of English public boards of trustees would result in the loss of Indigenous representation where it currently exists. And whereas the removal of English public boards of trustees would also result in the loss of student trustees in those boards, which is the sole legislative role giving voice to the Ontario students in English public boards, schools. And whereas there has been no formal public consultation on the proposal to remove the role of English public trustees, and polls have shown support for the role of trustees and are skeptical that the proposed governance changes will improve public education. And whereas the removal of democratically elected trustees at supervised boards has resulted in less open public meetings, which can result in less accountability. Okay, I just have to. Okay. Yeah, okay, so if it's approved, then a letter would be written and submitted as instructed, and the letter would also be posted on the Blue Water District School Board website under correspondence. And I'm just, sometimes it's hard. Anyway, and that the copy, as James said, the letter be sent to all Grey Bruce MPPs, MPs, OPSPA member board, Minister Calandra, and the Ontario Premier. And so it says that the Blue Water District School Board, this is really what you're voting on. The whereases are the supporting arguments, so to speak. And this is the gist, that the Blue Water District School Board write to the Ontario Ombudsman in support of the Waterloo Region District School Board letter to ask the office to review the potential impacts of removing English public school trustees with respect to fairness, openness, transparency, and accountability. And if there's any questions, comments, welcome.
Trustee Craig.
This is actually quite a shocking proposal that the minister has put forward, especially because it is prejudicial towards public school parents and supporters and public school generally. And it's going to not do the same to the Catholic schools. That is deeply shocking. I mean, it's almost a human rights issue.
Ombudsman.
Right. It simply blows my mind. What I'd like to ask, Jan, has this proposal from the minister moved from maybe to definitely?
So all we've all heard is, Minister Clandra basically in the press pronouncing that, it's outdated,
Thinking about,
democracy is outdated, and that, looking at some kind of new model, and it's just all, every time there's something happens, he says, oh, trustees are a problem. And so it's about actually, instead of waiting till the fall, is actually to do something about it. And one of them is the ombudsman, because they are, all about fairness and accountability. So that's why the letter to the ombudsman, and I can tell you that other boards across the province are doing something very similar we're doing tonight.
I would suggest that what's going to be required here moves from the realm of the possible to the realm of the definite. That we have to have a really major across the province outcry against this. It is anti-democratic, and it's actually a human rights violation for all of these parents and schools that are not part of the Catholic system. It's amazing. But maybe it'll just go away.
Okay. Wishful thinking.
Well, it's,
And trustee Peters.
There we go. What's of real interest to me is the letter to the ombudsman, because I think Jan and I were at the same meeting with Dubé. And the ombudsman's role is to not reverse or to order the ministry to not do something. They are basically a watchdog without teeth. But the report can be very damning politically, because it needs to be read and it needs to be within the public purview. So in terms of it being more of that it could probably drive the change more so than I think the letter to Calandra. So that's my take on it.
I'd like to respond to that. So yes, at the public education symposium, Dubé spoke. And it's exactly that. He can't stop your legislation, but he can pronounce on issues of public importance. How's that? And it is about the unfairness. I mean, outside of just student, public English speaking student trustees, Indigenous trustees with public boards, and of course, the whole fact that they would leave the Catholic system and the French system in place. And always remember that the public school English speaking is huge in anywhere in comparison. So it's, so there is something about this that is very outrageous, but I think that's why we're going, the first letter is to the ombudsman.
Yeah, and it's more about the process that was followed. So they are to look at the due process.
and making sure that those boxes have all been checked. And if they haven't been checked, then the report will be written and it will be made public, so.
Well, I hope,
Just a second, I'm gonna see if anyone else has.
I'm just gonna make a one sentence
Sorry.
quip. I was hoping that the letter to to Mr. Dubé would reference populist bullshit.
Oh, my God.
Is that not appropriate?
No. Do other trustees have any questions, to trustee Johnstone or comments?
Sorry, I didn't click my button right away to raise my hand. I'm just wondering, when is this supposed to occur? Like not the letter that we're looking to submit, but when is this change supposed to happen or intended to happen?
We don't know. Okay.
So, Calandra has said initially that we would hear something in the beginning of this year, like in January, but we didn't. And we're expecting that something in their next fitting, which is gonna come in
March 24th.
March 24th. That's why it's time sensitive. You know, so because we need to know, and I think the idea is to create public support for elected public school English speaking trustees and basically an outcry before legislation is actually presented.
Okay, miigwech. And then just one last question, just about I'm just reading and has stated that French and Catholic trustees will not be removed. What do you know what the intention is around this? Like, I know this is not right in any way, shape, or form. I'm just wondering what the reasoning is behind this. If you happen to know.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. So Calandra is stating that it's constitutional rights. Now remember, Calandra is stating it's constitutional rights, not me.
Okay, thank you.
I think I'm reading the room that we're ready to call the question. I'm just not sure the exact wording of the question I'm calling.
Okay, want me to do it right here?
Okay, I can do it. The recommendation is that Blue Water District School Board write a letter to the Minister of Education. No, this one. The Blue Water District School Board write to the Ontario Ombudsman in support of the Waterloo Region District School Board letter to ask the office to review the potential impacts of removing English public school trustees with respect to fairness, openness, transparency, and accountability, and that a copy of the letter be sent to all Grey Bruce MPPs, MPs, OPSPA member boards, Minister Calandra, and the Ontario Premier. All in favor? No, we already have two, three, this is just a
New one. Oh, right.
Yeah, you too.
We're just voting on this now, so it's a majority vote for people to be in favor. So all in favor? And that is carried.
My apologies, Jane, or
Yes,
yes, my apologies. I didn't think to say this when I gave my comment prior. I know we just moved it, but can we please include the chief and councils of Saugeen and Nashimman?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Good suggestion.
Anyway. We have another motion to consider, same process. So I'm gonna put it on the floor, but again, we will need a 2/3 majority to consider this, and then we'll discuss it. So the second one is that Blue Water District School Board write a letter to the Minister of Education requesting a formal province-wide consultation process be developed and implemented before making a decision that would eliminate English public school boards and would seek input from students, parents, staff, and community, and also discuss research concerning the pros and cons of eliminating local English public trustee representation, while also promoting open dialogue and two-way conversations. And this motion be sent to every English public board in the province of Ontario and to OSPA. And so it's moved by trustee Johnstone, seconded by trustee Peters. So we're looking to see if there's a 2/3 majority to consider this motion. All in favor? And that is carried. So trustee Johnson, would you like to speak to that?
Sure, and just to let Rochelle know that we can also add the part you added with the other motion if you want that. Okay, so as I said, that this motion is definitely time sensitive. So whereas the Minister of Education has been given the authority to remove English public trustees without consulting students, parents, staff, and community members. And whereas the English public trustees serve the largest group of students, parents, staff, and community members in the province. And whereas public meetings that promote government transparency and accountability will also be eliminated. And whereas students, parents, staff, and community members will not have a trustee representative and advocate at the local level. And whereas students, parents, staff, community members, and school boards will have no recourse or pushback when the Ministry of Education directives are issued to local school boards. And okay, I'm just trying to think where else I was going with this. Anyway, that's the whereas, and then the recommendation, which is what Jane just said. It's kind of different on my paper. That we write a letter to the minister and, education and requesting a province-wide consultation, and then who it be sent to. And Rochelle, if you would like the chiefs, that would be great. You can put that on the floor too. Anyway, so I'm open to discussion.
Trustees have any questions? Trustee Morgan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. One of the things that Trustee Johnstone said that worries me is who gave Calandra the permission to remove the trustees?
That was, that's the whole thing, trustee Morgan, that legislation actually hasn't come forward yet. So Bill 33 actually doesn't cover that off. And that's why we're concerned, deeply concerned that when the government returns to the legislature at the end of March, that this legislation is going to come down. And so basically we want the public to know. I think that's really it. And that we're asking, but that we want consultation, because that's been an important process. And this government has said that they believe in accountability.
Thank you so much. Terrific.
In that vein, might I also suggest that this letter to be sent to all of the Blue Water principals and school councils. So we have to start the process of talking to the public.
So would you like that included?
Yes, I would, please.
So, trustee Craig has said that he also wants this to be sent to all the Blue Water schools, to their principals and school councils. And I'm just looking that everybody would be okay with that.
I agree with trustee Craig, but I think I'd like to go one step further and have all employees of Blue Water. We would, Jamie sends out communications all the time, and I think that would be relevant, to, we're working sometimes hand in hand with our staff. And without us, sometimes it might not be think it's important that we let everyone know if we're going these steps. I think we need to think beyond the box.
So we're looking for that, Trustee Atkinson is asking that staff also be included, beyond just the principals and the schools and the school council. And we have, you know, we're really just looking for agreement as opposed to kind of adding amendment on top of amendment. So unless you disagree, you need to speak. If not, we're gonna add them too.
Trustee Ritchie?
Yeah, quick question. Can you just scroll up just a little bit? I think there might be a couple more whereas. I'm just trying to make sure I understand yeah, Miigwech. Okay, thank you. And then just going back to what Trustee Johnstone, I know that we went through a couple motions already, but can this also please be like include the chiefs and counselors of Saugeen First Nation and Neashingwing?
Yes, it can.
Good.
Okay, so the motion now is to the minister, but with being sent also to our Blue Water family, all staff, our chief and councils, and school councils, yes. Was it going to MPs or
Community
MPs?
MPPs?
Yeah, yes, I think it should be, because this is actually coming from us as opposed to just passing along
Yeah.
something from
Okay.
another board.
Send it to.
Apologies.
Yep.
I have one more addition that, or request, I should say. Can this be forwarded to our Ontario Regional Chief, Abraham Benedict, please, as well? Because he can discuss this with all the chiefs within Ontario.
That's an excellent idea. And Rochelle, can you also email Crystal just with some of the different pieces you just said, just to make sure
Yes,
that.
yep, I can.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah,
So we're talking about MPPs being added, and I'm also wondering, you know, because, and I know that trustee, this almost called you trustee Morgan, trustee Thompson had mentioned is why wouldn't we also send it to all our local councils in our area, our municipal partners? So would you like that too? I mean, we might as well just share it to the world. Okay,
I'm going to ask Crystal, is this clear for you?
So basically, correct me if I'm wrong, we're taking the last line from the previous motion. Copy of the letter be sent to all Rivers MPs, MPs, OSPA member boards, here chiefs, council, Ontario regional chief, all Blue Water employees, and school council chairs.
and councils, did you have regional, like the council?
So chiefs and councils and the Ontario regional chief.
Okay, yeah, but regional chief is the indigenous, is,
Yes.
yeah, this would be like Owen Sound City Council. Like, so those municipal councils.
Crystal, I can send you the information for our ORC, like the Ontario Regional Chief. He can discuss this and discuss this with the other chiefs within the province. So it'd be 133 communities.
Thank you.
Trustee Morgan?
Madam Chair, thank you. I guess with this amount of coverage, I was going to suggest press, but obviously it will get out there. Just food for thought.
Thank you.
Okay, because we had it that, we would ask, Jamie do a press release on this and send it out to all our local media.
Trustee Craig.
One other thing we might do, though it might be premature at this point, we may want to get more clarity from the government as to whether this is just a trial balloon or a serious proposal. But we could think about having a community meeting on this topic alone, which would mean, in other words, a debate around the relevance and importance of local school boards. Again, I'm not proposing that for right now, but I can imagine this should be something we would do because we need to mount a very serious campaign against this absurdity.
Thank you. So we'll stick to our motion. I think, there's been a fair bit of conversation and is widely, I think our list is quite wide. So I'm going to repeat the motion. And it was, placed on the floor by trustee Johnstone and seconded by trustee Peters, that Blue Water District School Board write a letter to the Minister of Education requesting a formal province-wide consultation process be developed and implemented before making a decision that would eliminate English Public Board trustees and would seek input from students, parents, staff, and community, and also discuss research concerning the pros and cons of eliminating local English public trustee representation, while also promoting open dialogue and two-way conversations, and that this motion be sent to every English public board in the province of Ontario and to OXFA. And
Like Chris Reed,
yes,
to all Great MPPs, OPSPA Board, the Ontario Premier, municipal councils, chiefs and councils, the Ontario Regional Chief, all Blue Water employees, and school council chair.
all in favor? Thank you, that is carried.
I think, could I, is this contemplating like just the contents of a letter? Just, or is that on a different? Just maybe something extra to add, because my only worry is rather than using political speech, I would like to see something that be really, really tangible. So if you, for example, how would that affect my student? If we are not here next year, what would that mean to the spec ed of my student that requires service or special needs? Make it more, how would that affect the children that we want?
Your suggestion is taken.
Sure.
Thank you so much, everyone. We're on to committee establishment and appointments, and there are none. So we're to our student senate report, and I'd like to invite student trustee Farmas to present the student senate report.
I would like to open by extending our deepest condolences to the community of Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia, as they grieve the unimaginable loss suffered in last week's tragic school shooting. It's hard to believe we've already moved through the end of one semester and into another. Over the past several weeks, schools across Blue Water have successfully transitioned into a new term, even though exams looked a little different than expected due to a full week of snow-days. Despite the weather disruptions, students and staff showed flexibility and plans adjusted and semesters came to a close. Although exams ultimately became optional as students who wished to write them to raise their marks could, many schools had put strong preparation supports in place. Study groups, review sessions, and wellness initiatives were available to help students feel confident and prepared. Across the board, extracurricular activities and involvement has remained strong. Student councils and committees are continuing to plan fundraisers, spirit days, and upcoming events for the new semester. Prom committees are organizing themes and confirming venues, while the UN teams are preparing new members for upcoming conferences, and school productions are moving ahead following recent auditions. Chisholm students have continued building valuable hands-on experience, including first aid, CPR training, and so in several schools. Our winter athletic programs are progressing well, with teams competing successfully and representing their schools and Blue Water with pride. In Walkerton, students have been building positive connections with their new principal, Mr. Graham, while maintaining a focus on academic success and mental wellness. Across other schools, leadership groups and wellness teams are sharing study supports and promoting resources to help students stay on track. Grey Highlands is planning on having an athletic forum, inviting Olympians Ben Johnson and Pierre-Alexandre Rousseau to the school as keynote speakers. Overall, despite the challenges caused by severe weather, it's been great to see the students across Blue Water demonstrate adaptability, leadership, and continued commitment to their schools. As we begin the new semester, there's a strong sense of momentum and renewed focus moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do trustees have any questions, comments? Here's something about the momentum as we get into this time of year, but thank you so much. So we're into our staff reports, and tonight we have a presentation on the Youth Apprentice Program. I understand the one video that we'll see at the end is a bit quiet, so just so you're aware that listen a little more carefully. Welcome, Superintendent Elliott.
Thank you. Good evening. Tonight, we're pleased to bring forward a report on the Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program, or we call it OYAP. It will highlight the continued growth and impact of apprenticeship pathways across Blue Water. OYAP plays a vital role in responding to Ontario's skilled trades needs by supporting students with hands-on learning experiences and clear pathways into apprenticeship careers. To introduce this report, I'm pleased to call upon Learning Services Administrator Kathy Archer.
It is my pleasure to introduce Justin Graham, the OEF recruiter for Blue Water District School Board. Justin plays a key role in connecting our students to meaningful career pathways through the Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program. His work helps bridge the gap between classroom learning and hands-on experience in the skilled trades, opening doors to rewarding in-demand careers that are essential to our communities and to our economy. As we continue to support student success, it's important to recognize that all pathways will lead to value. University, college, apprenticeships, and direct to work options each serve different strengths, interests, and goals. The skills trades in particular offer exceptional opportunities for innovation, entrepreneurship, and long-term stability. Promoting these pathways in our high schools ensures students and families understand the full range of possibilities available to them. Justin's leadership and dedication and commitment within our communities helps elevate the profile of trades across our system and reinforces shared commitment to honoring every student's pathway. Justin.
Thank you, Kathy. Good evening. Sure, switches up. So I've mentioned I'm Justin Graham. So we have a recruiter for the Trade Apprenticeship Program. Really just here to get students involved in the trades, get them registered while they're in high school. But really kind of give them an option of another pathway when they're looking at kind of their future and what their next steps are. And I am thankful to be from the area, graduating from John D. Baker Secondary School, and thankful I got to stay in the area after and still be involved. Our first slide here, so what have we been doing? So this is our OEAP levels of engagement. So this is what we have for a lot of our community events. We hear about all these programs, what exactly does the program do? So we kind of create this one-page handout that goes over kind of the contact or touch points that we have with OEAP. So it starts off at the bottom of the ladder with parents, guardians, educators, community members, just kind of getting them involved in what the trades are all about, what OEAP can help do, and just kind of get that word out there. And then we start into the students in our school board. So in grades as young as kindergarten, grade 1, we go through little objectives, little coloring projects, just to get a quick introduction of the trades. Grades 2 and 5, we ramp that up a bit where they're actually doing little challenges where they're doing elastic cars, different kind of activities to highlight the trades. And then grades 6 to 8 is where we introduce our skills opportunity showcase. So that's where we come into the school, take over the gym, and are able to offer hands-on learning to all the students within the different trades that we offer. So we have automotive, electrical, HVAC, and excavator, a bunch of other ones as well. And then the top of the ladders are grades 9 and 12, so we hope that the bottom of the ladder, we educated students, parents, community members enough that by the time they're in grade 9 and 12, they have an educated opinion on what they want to do as a career. So this is where we can finally step in, get them signed up for the program, and then we can help them along their apprenticeship pathway. Again, just trying to trade out, see if they like it or not, they'll be able to count their hours and competencies towards their learning. If they do go forward with it, and then we can actually get them registered while they're in high school, start working towards their new level of education. So we have information, so maintain and grow. So as I mentioned, my 4th year into the role now, so really looking to sustain what we built up, but also grow as we keep moving forward. So you can see in 23-24, we're at 485 participants, 24-25, 570, and then our goal is around 600 for this coming school year. Then we're always looking towards community partnerships, so that's a big effort that helps to kind of push the word out there, helps with a lot of projects and initiatives that we can support our students with. And then Mayor of Ontario is a group sponsor that's helped us a lot these last couple of years. So some of our area doesn't have a lot of sponsors that can take on apprentices, but Mayor can kind of step in, be that group sponsor, and kind of help them along the apprenticeship pathway. Then just some events to share. So we had our Build to Lead event on November 5th. So this is at the NII, so the Nuclear Innovation Institute in Tiverton. So we were able to have 350 grades 7 to 12 students come. We had vendors set up going through the different kind of trades they had. And then we also had a women panel speaking about how they got into the trades and kind of what the next steps would be if they did want to continue on. Next event is our Level Up. So this is organized by the ministry. So we're hoping to get them closer to our area, closer to the ones that are Barrie or London. So we sent them to Barrie this year. So we had almost 80 grade 10s to 12 students go to the Level Up event. So again, just hosted some vendors. You guys see the students in the 2 pictures there. We got to actually try welding, try a lot of hands-on initiatives, but also get some information from businesses, unions, and other trade organizations. So we'd like to highlight our Skills Opportunity Showcase. So this goes around to all Blue Water elementary schools. So we're currently at 2,130 grade 6 to 8 students that we've had the trailer at. So we can kind of see the pictures here. I hopefully updated for ones that you haven't seen yet. So we have the scaffolding from LiUNA at the top left there. So some mini scaffolding unit that they can build up. William Davis, who takes our SOS out, he came up with this HVAC idea. So they have to put the pipes together, use a hair dryer, and get the air to flow through while turning the fans on. And finally, the far picture is just a dexterity test. So just kind of seeing what work you might be good at, work involving precision, maybe speed, maybe more thinking. So there's a lot of different dexterity ones there, just to kind of see what work they might be good at. And then we have a video from Bonnie Lynn Silk. So she's a JDSS graduate and she's in our level 1 apprenticeship program. So she graduated with a level 1 apprenticeship in carpentry and she's working towards it. Steve. Yeah, just a quick success story from, Bonnie Lynn, we like to keep a candid, so, but she kind of shared her high school experience and how we was involved. So thank you, I appreciate your time, and, yeah, my contact information is up there.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you very much. Do trustees have questions or comments? Trustee Atkinson?
Um, last month I was at John D. Baker and it happened in perfect timing. They had their co-op. And the students were, showing their co-op placements and they were, it was in the library, all of the stations of all the students and their respective employers. It was very interesting and I was very amazed at how many young ladies were in the trades, or that was their outcome was to want to be in the trades. But the amount of students that were electrical, plumbing, manufacturing, all of things that it was just amazing to see, and they were so excited about their co-op and that they were wanting to know to do this semester to do another one. See that enthusiasm? It just is a reminder that this is why we fund a program like this and keep. I can remember, Justin, when you came to us 4 years ago and you were taking over from Dave Barrett, you were a little frightened. And I watched you with the students, and as what Kathy said, you have a bond with these students that they respect you so much and look up to you. I don't know what you do or how you do it, but you do totally engage with our students. In fact, last week, I found it very funny that one of my little friends who visits me regularly asked me when Shifty and his friend were coming with the trailer. And I said, you mean Mr. Days and Mr. Graham? I said, he looked at me, hand on his hip, and he said, I didn't ask about their dads. I asked about them. So anyway, they look forward to you. And I just can remember the first time Trustee McComb and I did the excavating here at the Education Center. We both conceded that Walker would never hire either one of us for that. So the trades are for certain people and to be able to get an education and work and to be paid for it and the amount of things you can take now. Like when I went to school many moons ago, it was automotive and electrical and the basics, more so for the male, because heaven forbid a girl learn to change a tire. We've come so far up to 339. I think that's what the number is. I could be wrong. Opportunities for an apprenticeship program. We can't say enough. And thank you for doing what you do. And it's very much appreciated, Justin.
Yeah, no, thank you, I appreciate the kind words.
Do trustees have any other questions or comments? So I'm just wondering how many of our students graduate from us and have an apprenticeship lined up.
Yeah, so the OEM participation numbers there, so we had, 650 last year, probably there was 70 or 80 who get signed up while they're still in high school. And then that's where we're starting to talk with Skill Trades Ontario to better track the ones that get signed up after. Our whole message is with, once they graduate high school, they graduate from OEM, so we lose all our kind of military information on them because we have to complete them and graduate them and they got shipped over to Skill Trades Ontario. So that does come up in our OEM meetings just to kind of get a better clarification of how many of the students that participate in OEM are kind of going forward with a trade.
But some of our students would have had exposure and then find themselves in a trade after they've left high school and.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what the kind of program is there for. If they want to try skilled trades and a co-op, they can kind of jump in, they get a certificate for it. If they like it, great, they can continue on, but maybe it's a couple years down the road where they, think the path that they end up taking wasn't for them, they can kind of circle back and still use those hours and skills they learned towards their profession.
I just have one other question. We have such a big geographic board. Does that pose any challenges for students that are interested in the trades?
That's a good question. I feel like growing up here as well, we're kind of just used to having to drive. And I don't have to hours sometimes for events or maybe it's funny when some of the other we have recruiters where they're surprisingly sent students to vary, some of the driver an hour and a half one way. So yeah, I think we're really used to moving around and having that much time we can travel. Good question. Sometimes, there's a lot of mom and pop shops around here that can't really bring on an apprenticeship, but that's where we've brought on merit, where they can help with that paperwork or help with that credentials that they're not, that they don't have, so we still use those companies to be able to sponsor them. Yeah.
I can speak to that a little bit as well, just that, some of our communities that are growing really quickly and haven't necessarily had a whole lot of exposure to OER to our students, entering into trades, they, apprenticeships or co placements. We've talked about this Friday doing some recruitment of some new businesses and using our social media sources, and website to see if we can recruit more of our businesses in all those areas, because there is a need. As Justin does his work in our school, there are more and more students that want to take this program, so we certainly know that finding the right placements for those students in our area is also really important.
Trustee Craig.
This is a bit beyond the scope of OYAP, but I also worry about students who are academic, who are not inclined to be taking trades courses. And I hearken back to my own elementary years and high school years. In grades 7 and 8, once a week, I went to another school and learned how to use a hammer and a saw and make stuff, right? And that was incredibly helpful to me. And then in high school, though I was in an academic program, I remember taking electricity and drafting, which was also very, very useful as I bought a home and had to do stuff. Was never very good at it, but at least it got my feet wet. So I'd just like to ask our director and the superintendents, to what degree do we acquaint academically inclined students with the trades between grade 6 and grade 12? Do we do anything like that as well as we did 50 plus years ago?
Through the chair, I can respond to that. I remember those days as well when we had technological education around the board. I think what's changed in water and around the province is that we do a little bit better job of embedding experiential learning in all of our courses. So chances are, if you're taking a class in physics, you're likely doing some hands-on electrical work right there in the class, rather than having the tech. In elementary. We also have experiential learning in elementary schools with things like the Lego Challenge, which is a program that we run. That's just one example to use some coding skills. So I think it just looks a lot different than maybe you recall, but it still is.
Different, but not necessarily better.
And, go ahead, student, trustee Farnham.
Just to see some new innovative learning with like classes, academic classes like physics, chemistry. I think we do actually integrate skill trades, trades and working with our hands into those kind of classes, as well as in lower grades, like grade 9, your electives, you're able to choose auto, electrical. I'm not sure I never really did it too much, but you're able to. And I know a lot of students that are in my cohort who are now taking more advanced science, STEM-based classes who definitely took automotive, and they're grateful for it because it's an incredible life skill. So I think it's still children and students still have the opportunity to do those kind of things and still be able to line themselves up for STEM courses in the future.
Thanks so much. Any other questions or comments? You don't see any. Thanks so much for coming. It's always great to hear about your
Thank you.
work that's going on. Correspondence, communication, we have no correspondence to share this evening. Communications and announcements, are there any announcements? Trustee Hutchinson?
I have two announcements. On Saturday, February 28th, the Grapers Mentorship is having their first night of the year walk. And one of our was including student trustee E.B. Kingston is walking, and I'm going to try to join some of them as well. So if you think of them on February 28th, from 4 till 7, it's anyway, so that's that. I actually told a bib I have 3, if that's okay.
That's okay.
Oh, I don't know. I'm only going to share a little bit of this next one. During Education Week, I spoke last meeting about our Special Education Advisory Committee having a networking night, and we're planning it the week of Education Week. So that's the first week of May. More details to follow after Lauren talks to the senior team. So stay tuned. It's going to be exciting. And this falls under the special education umbrella. On Saturday, I had the opportunity to meet a young man. His name is Matt Sadler, and he was diagnosed with autism at the age of 3. He's now 23, and he goes around to local arenas. His home is Hamilton, so he came to the big city of Durham and sings the national anthem. And I've had music in my life since I can't even remember. And I've only met 2 other people that have had perfect pitch. Now that is, if I was singing flat, he could tell me what note I was singing and what I should be. He was totally engaging. So he asked me what I did. So I told him that I like to advocate for kids with special needs. And he said to me that he'd have to Google me. And I thought, okay. But anyway, it was just heartwarming to see him interact and function as if you didn't know he had autism. I don't think anybody really would have known. He functioned, and it was just so enlightening to see that with his education, they put his math was put to music, and his literacy was put to music, and that's how he succeeded. So it was really nice to see him. Justin here, he was playing that night, and Matt was able to go into their dressing room and call out the first line. He was just ecstatic. But his one question to me was, is there food? And right away I thought of Superintendent LaFave because he loves food. But it was just nice to see someone with that ambition and raise awareness for autism. He has a website where he raises autism awareness. So it was pretty special. I Googled him too.
Oh, good.
Thank you. Trustee Johnstone?
Yeah, this is where trustee Peters can chime in. So,
Yes,
hey, perfect, he's on then.
right.
So, and so this has to do with the Ontario Public School Board and the refresh meeting dates. So one of the things that really came out that there's we're refreshing off, to make it the board of directors essentially smaller, but really, beefing up the regional councils and really wanting to promote that trustees from boards in your region, that you attend these meetings, you would have input into the workings of ops, but much more than you could say you do now. And that it would also, we're looking at options for hybrid meetings so that you didn't have to drive there, but we also realized that the information and the participation has to be meaningful and authentic and worthy. Because, as we know, that those meetings happen on a Saturday, and who wants to give up their time if it's not meaningful to trustees? And you want to add more about the upcoming meetings and then the decision for the voting delegates, blah, blah, blah.
I'll give you the blah, blah, and the blah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so, yeah, so we are having our next meeting, I believe, it's a little bit of a hike, I think, for us, it's gonna be April, my calendar here.
Board of Directors, so I think it's the end of February
Um,
coming up. You know this.
is it, okay, anyway, it'll probably be in your mailbox, or you'll, so, yeah, anyway, so basically, yeah, the next regional one is in April, okay. So so basically to kind of piggyback on what Janet is saying is, it's kind of like, it used to be the OPSPO was all these board of directors representing all the different boards in Ontario. But because of the, what's been happening, everything has kind of been now, regionalized, sort of speaking, which there is a voting delegate for each region. And I think Jan and I are kind of in that process. Jan, I think, is a primary voting delegate and I'm the alternate, and I'm the alternate, but we can.
Change that.
Oh, yeah, we might change it. But yeah, we do need more representation, whether it's through a hybrid model where then you can kind of, come and be there physically, or if you can't, go online too as well, just to kind of have some of that perspective. And then what happens at the regional kind of gets transferred to the main OPSPA umbrella, if you will. So, yeah. I think I got everything, including the blah and the la.
Yeah, that. Yeah, you did the blah, blah, blah. Thank you very much. Yeah, because sometimes I feel like I'm doing a lot of blah, blah, blah. The other thing I wanted to mention, and this kind of piggybacks on our previous discussion under the notices of motion that were timely. So you receive from the Ontario Public School Board what's called OPSPA communication. You should read that because on this December, February 9th, you received OPSPA communication, which included a kind of a template for a letter to send to council. Just to let you know, I designed that letter. I wanted to, because there's a lot of work. The OPSPA's office is small and mighty, but they're really unrelated these days. So and that's why I designed it, so it can be like in an email, one page, so no one has to flip out of it. There's even a sample motion to bring forward to your councils. I've already heard back from King Carden that they put it on their consent agenda for next week. So it's, what, you have nothing to lose here. And it would be great because I don't believe, including councils, that they're aware of this is really going on. And the other thing is they would probably be very interested because there's been talk provincially about getting rid of regional councils across the province. So they can really understand what we're now, where we're at. Regional, that's like the Bruce County Council and the Grey County Council. There's talk provincially about getting rid of that. So there's a lot of, as we say, democracy isn't outdated. But to look at that, they've offered you a template letter and then another one that has more information which you can pick and choose and just send it to your councils, and is find out if you can delegate. If you know some of your council, can you put it on the motion on the floor? And it doesn't cost them anything, and all they're saying is their support that trustees should be duly elected. Anyway, that's all I have to say to that.
And we do have a good resource, so if you have a question, you read something, you're not quite sure what it means or how you can use it or make it work, ask. Any director trustee conferences out of district meetings to share? And you have your calendar of events for you to look at. And with that, I'm looking for a mover and seconder that we, Blue Water District School Board, adjourn at 8:10. Trustee Johnstone, Trustee Morgan, and safe home, everyone, including you guys online.
Yes.